appreciate you guys who stood by me during the time we had some issues with the other channel. Um, I understand there was much rejoicing down there in Trinidad. I heard there was much rejoicing that I was removed from the platform of YouTube. I don't know. I keep telling people all the time, you really can't. There's nothing you can really do about what mankind wish to try. Once it's for you, it's for you. So today we are basically back on both platforms, and so if you're looking, you may be looking at the earlier channel as well, and you may also be looking at our backup channel, which I really want you to uh, remain on. Keep visiting that channel because we don't know when these little demons will decide to remove us again from this platform. So we are back on this platform. We're back on this one, and we are very happy to be back on it. We also let you know that we have a backup channel. You will notice it. Just ensure that you follow that channel just in case these little demons decide that they would remove us without warning again, without strike, without warning. So ensure that you do that. I just want to make sure that that's what you are supposed to do. Follow the backup channel so that just in case the little demons decide that they would remove us from this platform again, that you will have somewhere to hear us. You will know where to find us, and that's very very important. All right. So I'm just giving you that charge at this time so that you would know. So let me say good morning to everybody who is already online. Yes, yes, good morning to everybody who is already online. Good morning to Anan. Good morning to Kenny Roberts. And good morning to Candice. Yes, so like I said, I just want to say good morning to all of the subscribers across all of the channels. Both of them are back. We are back with the old channel that was just terminated by the YouTube platform. No warning, no strike. Of course, we never did anything outside the realm. We just spoke the truth, and it appeared that that may have been a problem for some people. So we were kicked off of that platform. We began a new channel because a lot of you encouraged me to do so. I was just gonna leave it alone, but a lot of you encouraged me to do so, and I did. And we ran up to about over close to 4,000 subscribers already in 1 month, which means that you definitely love the information. You like the information that we're giving, and I believe because of that, you continue to be with me there, and that's a great inspiration for me. I heard that there was much rejoicing. I heard that there was a lot of rejoicing in Trinidad by some people who wish to have me off of the platforms. Um, I heard that there was much rejoicing there. Um, so I don't know. I don't know. I don't know why there would be much rejoicing in Trinidad. They said that they are very happy to see me off of YouTube. Unfortunately, a lot of them may not have known that we started the backup channel. And those of you who are here, I'm encouraging you to subscribe to the backup channel just in case. And any video that I do, I'm uploading to both of the platforms at the same time because, you never know when these little demons will run around again. So let me say good morning to a friend from St. Eustatius, the Golden Rock, Statia, the Golden Rock. So that's where it is. Anand says he didn't hear that. Yeah, we were off. Well, I got some WhatsApp messages from persons from Trinidad who said that they were very happy that I was off. They really can't take my spirit. So that's what it is. But Like I told them, the Most High controls everything in the affairs of man, and if He meant that you should be back, you would be back. If He means that He doesn't want you there, you will not be there. And so I left everything in His hand, and then yesterday I got an email from YT, and they said that we have restored your channel, and that's what it is. So I don't know. That was it. That's just like it. I don't know. Anyway, guys, let me tell you something, right? I want to tell you guys something, that being prepared is not about fear, okay? It's what I call being proactive, a wisdom based approach. It's aimed at building your resilience, confidence, your peace of mind, and it represents a shift from an anxiety driven reaction to proactive responsibility, which can enable you to be calm in any situation that come about in your life once you're very proactive and you're always prepared. And that's just what it is. I see a lot of people saying that we are do fear mongering and we're scaremongering and nothing is going to happen, and it's all propaganda, and all that kind of foolishness. That is what I've been seeing from some people in the comment section, that we are fear mongering. But I can't understand how could it be fear mongering when the same Western media that they listen to every day is saying to them, look, over there, over there in the Middle East right now, and I'm going to tell you about that just now. Something is just awfully going on that you really want to know about. You should really want to know about that, and it's going to affect a lot of us over here, whether we like it or not. Oil prices, jump after Iran and Israel attack the gas fields. Um, I don't know if you know about that. That happened yesterday. That's a big escalation, and the gas price have jumped basically to a 4-year high, and oil prices rose again after escalation of attacks by Israel and Iran on gas fields in Iran. The Fars out gas field, I think you may have heard about it. And so now this morning we're looking at global oil benchmark. It rose to $116 a barrel, and before I got on here, I'm hearing it actually hit 120. So while people are telling you that you're scaremongering, and the thing is that for us in the region, the shock from these things are going to be a bit delayed. And I think that is what is getting people not understanding the situation, the gravity of the situation. It's going to be delayed. So you may have a 2-month delay or a 1-month delay in getting the effects of what is happening over there in the Gulf region in terms of the oil prices and how it's going to affect you locally in your neck of the woods here in the region. So don't bother people when they come to when we are giving information, they're saying that we are fear mongering. But that is not fear mongering. That's making you have an intelligent decision when time comes, putting you in a place where you don't have to be in panic and anxiety. So if you don't follow the necessary preparation advice, what do you think happens to you when the things come upon you like that? Exactly. So this morning I'm understanding that the prices actually maybe 120 before I came on to the program. Let me just show you something here. Look at this. Look at this here. This is where we are this morning. Um, this morning we're here. Let me just try see if I could get this thing here organized to remove it. Right. So on the 16th of March, which was what? 16th was what? Wednesday, Tuesday. Today is what? Thursday. Right. Monday or somewhere around there, I think. Right. So basically the 16th was Monday, correct? Monday. So you see what happened here, right? You see what is going on here? This is where we are this morning. Close to $120 a barrel. $120 a barrel for oil this morning. Close, that's where we are. Um and it's gonna get worse. It's gonna get worse. Of course, Iran is allowing some of their partners to move through with oil. They're doing business directly, with Iran now instead of fighting up with the US and all these nonsense. They're doing business with Iran. straight up. So you see what's happening here, and they're paying and they want their money in yen and yuan, whatever you want to call it, Chinese yuan, yen. Some people call it yen, some people call it yuan, but that is what they're doing right now. So it is amazing what is happening. That some people in the region think that when you educate people and you tell them what is happening in terms of prices of oil and how you should prepare and what could affect you, they think that you're doing scaremongering. I have never seen people like that. I've really never seen it on that level. I don't know what is wrong with some people. Anyway, all right. So here is where we are. Here's where we are. I'm going to show you something now. This is what happened as well. This is what causing the problems right now. Where Israel yesterday went ahead and hit that oil field, that fast Paz oil field, which they share with Qatar. Israel went ahead and did that, and that is where the problem is coming from right now. All right, right. So at this point in time, you can actually see that there's no U.S. ships which are allowed to pass through the Straits of Hormuz. Also, also, if your dollar is tied to the US, like we are in the Eastern Caribbean, problems, I tell you. Problems when this thing start to tumble. It's gonna be problem. Endless problems when it start to tumble. And I don't want it to get there. Some people don't want it to get there, but it looks like it could get there. And we have to be prepared. We have to be prepared. We have to make sure because money will come like nothing. You understand what I'm saying to you? That's why when you try to buy, you'll have to spend so much to get so little. So that's why I often say if you prepare as much as possible now, you won't have to go through all that challenge when the time comes. It's going to be bad. People don't understand this thing. Okay, let me say good morning to Virgil. Let me see good morning to President Jaffa. Let me say good morning to Anan. I think I said that already. Candice, Sophie. Um, I see Sadiq, I think, is online there as well. Slimmer. Sharon, 6280. Yep, let me see who else is around. And Anna Ramsey is on. Michael Woodley is here. Uh, Jenny is already here. I think Kenny Roberts was the first one to log on this morning. Let me say good morning to everybody who is online already. Just an announcement I have to make to you guys. We are back with our older channel. YT decided to just reinstate it. I got an email yesterday. They said that your channel has been replaced or it's back from its termination. They said it was terminated. They didn't say what the issues were. We didn't get a strike. We didn't get a warning. And they just did that. And now they said that it's back and you have access to it. That's what it is. So we have this platform, the older one, and we have the newer channel. So subscribe to both just in case these little demons decide to push us off again because we say something that disturbs them. The last video that we did was the one with St. Lucia when we dismantled what they said about the US Embassy, telling the Prime Minister in St. Lucia that he basically was lying. And we dismantled that, and then that was it after. So, sometimes when you speak what they don't want, carry their narrative, this is what you get in return. So just subscribe to the other one. Um, you know, so that's how it is. All right. Well, my friend Anika, I think is something says that's a lie. The majority of Trinities believe you have the right to speak. I'm from Trinidad and Tobago, and while I do not always agree with you, everything you say, you also have the right to speak. Well, I tell you what, I don't know if you listened when I started. I was speaking in context to some WhatsApp messages and emails that I got saying that they were very happy that I was off of YT and they were very glad to see me disband and all of that, band and all thing and stuff like that. So that is what I was speaking to. You may have not been there when we started. All right. Candice, go right ahead and ask your question. Oh, it's here. It says Let me see. Permit. What is the main reason preventing the Caribbean from de-dollarization of the U.S. dollar? Oh well, the EC dollar is pegged to the US dollar. Um, it's pegged to the US dollar, and there are certain things, agreements that the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank would have signed back then to keep our money stable, tied to that US dollar. It's going to take a while if you're just going to unravel it, because you'll have to go through the banking process. There are some things that we have easy access to because we're tied to the US dollar, our banking system, the SWIFT system, and all of that, where we go through the US to get our monies come through and all of that. All of these things are wrapped up in a lot of agreements, so it will take some time to unravel them before we, and once we back away from the US dollar, we, of course the EC is not going to be high on the totem pole as it is currently. It's not going to be as stable as it is currently. So even though we have a lot of reserves, I think we have a good couple of millions of dollars in reserves, at least for 6 months right now. I think the last set that we had, if I could find back the information, let me see if I could get it back. So there's a lot of things wrapped up in that. So it's not easily pushed away like that. Let me see if I could find it back for you. We have a couple, at least right now, based on what is happening, we have about 6 months' money, like in reserve. We really have a lot of money in reserve for 6 months. About 6 months to cover any kind of importation, inflation, and stuff like that. I think the last time up to 2025, we had 5.65 billion EC dollars. That's where we are. That's where we are right now. Um, so we can cover. We have enough reserves, ECCB reserves, sufficient enough right now to provide over 6 months of import cover. So that will serve as what you call a buffer for the region in the event of any further economic spike and external shock. The C dollar is maintained through what you call a currency board agreement, which is like almost a one-to-one system where the money in circulation is supported by foreign currency, predominantly the US dollar. So if we remove that US dollar as the backing, it's obvious that we're going to have some serious problems in the region. I don't think the people of the region are prepared for that really. So that's where we are. Okay. So Caribview said, keep reaching to class late. No, we just began a while ago. I don't think you missed much really. We just talked about the prices of the gasoline. Fuel on the world market has gone up significantly this morning because of that bombing of the Fars oil field in the Middle East. We spoke a little bit about preparation and why it's not necessary, and why it's necessary to do preparation. And people are talking about fear mongering. It's just absolute rubbish. You have to prepare yourself because clearly we see what is happening here. That's why I keep telling you guys that you have to always, put aside something small. Put aside something small. Okay. All right, Candice, appreciate it. And I'll get somebody, I'll try to get my good friend, he's the economist from Dominica, to come on the program one morning to explain this even further to you, because I think this is necessary for all people to know how monies are dealt with around this place and why once the US dollar sinks into oblivion, we could be in problems. Lot of problems. Okay, so here is something that I want to talk to you about. I don't know if I don't know how many of you usually travel. I don't know how many of you really travel a lot, like move about, like But I think there's a problem right now. Airlines worldwide are now warning that there's a surge in the jet fuel, right? And it is costing hundreds of millions of dollars, and it's going to lead to higher ticket prices and reduce flight routes as well. So you're going to have a lot of airlines jacking up the price of the airline tickets, and they're going to reduce some of the routes that they usually fly to, especially if they're not really that profitable. All right. Delta Airlines, I understand the CEO said Tuesday that the fuel cost alone would add up to $400 million in March. And he said that airlines are already moving to offset these expenses through fare increases. So that's where we are with that. Um, good morning to Cuthbert. Good to see you on the live, man. Good to see you on the live. You're a little bit late for class here, but we're just talking about preparations. We're now moving into the airline tickets. We were talking about, and I have to refresh every time somebody comes into class late. You guys gonna have to start getting suspension. No, that's not your fault. I didn't put out the notification to say I was coming on today, but um, but circumstances allowed me to come back. So we're talking about preparation because of what is happening in the Gulf. We're talking about the oil prices now going close to $120 a barrel and why you should really prepare. All right, basically. So, like I said, the airline tickets are moving with great speed now. American Airlines also projected an additional 400 million in fuel-related costs for the first quarter. So you see where that is going to take us. Now, in its third week, of course, the conflict has disrupted global aviation and it's forcing cancellation in some places. We have delays, we have rerouted flights, as much of Middle East, Eastern airspace remains closed due to security risk over there. So fuel prices have become a major pressure point right now, and the cost in Europe are doubling. If you don't know that, rising nearly 80% in Asia since the strikes began in late February. And so fuel, apparently, from what I learned yesterday, typically makes up 20 to 25% of the airline operating expenses. And that's second only to the labor cost. And many airlines no longer hedge fuel prices, leaving them more exposed to sudden spikes. So these are problems right now that we're going to be facing. Vietnam has warned airlines to prepare for possible flight cuts starting in April. China and Thailand also halted jet fuel exports, so they're going to hoard that jet fuel, and they're raising concerns about supply shortages. Airspace disruptions have added to the strain as well, and the United Arab Emirates, which is the UAE, briefly shut down its airspace earlier this week. You know that? And Germany airport reported about 86,000 passengers affected by cancellation alone in the first 2 weeks of the conflict. And that's with only one third of its Middle East routes still operating. So there is a lot of problems. Of course, you will know that this development highlights how the impact of the war is rippling far beyond the region outside of the Middle East. And I think the last time we saw something like that in the airline industry was when we had the COVID pandemic. But Delta said it's trying to adapt by adjusting and using recovering fuel costs. The airlines are being cautious, even though about raising the fares too aggressively, given on uncertain demands. I think yesterday, Air France, KLM also announced plans to raise long haul ticket prices, and some airlines have introduced fuel surcharges high as well. I think other airlines like Air New Zealand and Australia, Qantas and Scandinavia SAS, they have also announced fare increases abroad as well. So there is something that this is something that you have to look out for if you're going to be traveling. Um, if you're going to be traveling anytime soon. Cuthbert says these increases, he says these increases in airfare will result in significant impact on our tourism industry in the Caribbean. Absolutely. I think we spoke about that in one of the earlier classes. That is going to cause significant disruption in our airline in our tourism industry. We spoke about that for sure. We did spoke about that for sure recently. It's going to cause a significant disruption in our tourism industry. Let me just show you something here. I think also Caribview just said that shipping and air freight rates will go up, as this is a cost to companies importing goods that will be passed on to the consumer. I'm coming to that for sure. Caribbean governments will be dealing with increased unemployment, increased prices for groceries, ultimately increased cost of living. Plus, many countries, especially in Asia, have announced work from home directive. That's right. Then again, many are leaving the Arab states with their luxury guarantees. Gas is the backbone of major sectors, according to Empress, where consumers need the end product, transport, food, and housing in a latent way. TNT and others import everything, so look out. Um, Anemic said the war is helping to keep the American economy afloat by purchasing oil in US dollars and also by trying to or tying to our currencies to it. It's time to stop this. Douglas Allen again says, I think work from home measures should be implemented in the Caribbean region as well. Empress says gas, oil is the backbone of major sectors where consumers need the end product. Transport, food, housing. Okay. So I think we saw that one before. Guess what? Guess what? Um, what is happening, right? What is really happening is that we are having what you call there. We're not going to have this issue of. Let me tell you, we're not going to have this issue of people working from home in the region very quickly because the these issues are not going to come to us as quickly as they come to some other places in the world. We have almost like a 2 3 months lag in the region, so we are working in the time lag. We are working in operating in the time lag, and that is why I believe a lot of people in this region, when we come here and we have these classes and we talk about what is expected to come, people think we are fear mongering because we are working in the time lag. That's what we're working with, a 2 to 3 month time lag. Some Caribbean islands may see it quicker than others. So some are working a 2 month time lag, some are working a 3 month time. The overall is a 3 month time lag, but um, some will work in a 2 month time lag as well. So what we're seeing right now, what we're seeing right now is the time lag, and because we are seeing the time lag, a lot of people think that this is a lot of people think that nothing will happen. That is where a lot of people are getting the confusion from. And I want people to really understand the time lag is not the time lag may be a short savior, but it will only be a short savior if you are actually prepared for what is to be unleashed. Some countries are already feeling the pain. I don't know if you know that countries like Australia and other places like that, they're already feeling a lot of pain. You have places in Australia right now, as I read this morning in many of the Australian newspapers, that don't have fuel. And I mean, do not have fuel. So that is where we are. That is exactly where we are, right? So we are really, we as we say, we are working in a time lag. We're working in a time lag. We're really working in a time lag, and people think that we have time, but we don't have time. So let me go back to the airline industry now. Air Canada spokesperson, I think this morning, said that absolutely, Douglas. It's like the calm before the storm. Said that all airlines are subject to current volatility and that booking prices fluctuate constantly, partly in reaction to these market swings. So what you're having if you're traveling, of course, they react to these. The airlines are reportedly has contracts to lock in cost, small portion of its fuel purchases in short term. So a lot of things are happening. I want to tell you that the Gulf nations typically produce around 20 million barrels of oil and refined products daily. Roughly three-quarters of the supply has been taken offline. I want to explain that to you again. The Gulf nations, where we have this war going on, typically produces 20 million barrels of oil and refined products daily. Roughly three-quarters of that supply has been taken offline. So you see the gravity in which we are working in. So it's not, we don't come here to fearmonger. We come to give you information that other people in the region should be telling you. Government should be having these things on a daily basis, updating you. They should be having their agencies talking about it, but they don't. That is why people like me have to take up the slack on others in the region. Now, any further hostility is going to end production and supply. It's not, and it's not going to rebound immediately, even after the hostilities end. production and supply will not rebound immediately. All of the hits that they're taking in the Gulf, in the region, you're talking about like in Qatar, where the LNG basically is shut down now. Remember, when they restart a plant and a refinery, it takes about 3 months to actually put it back online, restore it, and start pumping again. So that's where we are. Jesus says, Jesus Z6, somebody, yeah, I think they said it. It says, God is smartly placing affairs in a position for the ultimate destruction buckle up. Well, like I said, despite what man want to do, the ultimate happenings down here rest solely in the Most High, not man. They think they have control. They don't have control over anything. Now, globally, jet fuel prices would peak near $4.37 per gallon last week, and it's jumped up from there again. All right. So some islands, like I said, will feel it immediately, and others will really take some time to feel it. Yeah, there's all the choking point in these things, and it will get tighter. It will get tighter. Even if the war ends tomorrow, our time to feel the prices and the heat has not yet arrived. So even if the war ends tomorrow, yeah, we will rejoice about it. We don't want to see continuous war in the world. But even if it ends tomorrow, because of the time lag in which things come to us, if it ends tomorrow, April, May, we start feeling the pinch immediately. And we say, but the war is over. Yeah, but the war is over. That's our time lag. That's when we start to feel it based on our supply chain and all of that and what have been bought before. So that's what it is. That's what it is. Let me get into this thing because a lot of people have been asking me about the freight, the freight cost. I see some people coming late to class. Good day, Miss Arima. I didn't put up the notification this morning, so you're not late. Anemic said I was supposed to leave for Thailand and Vietnam on Saturday with Qatar Airways, and they canceled it. Yep, that's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right. All right. Do you think building an international airport in these tribulation times, rather bringing the people back to the land and agriculture, who's going to land on China International Airport? Well, I think you may be talking about the airport in Dominica. Jenny's from Dominica. Um, I think you may be talking about the airport in Dominica. Well, the airport in Dominica started before the Gulf problems. And if they have already been funding for the airport, might as well you build it. Um, if there have been funding specifically set aside for the airport, for instance, if you already have funding for it, like if there's a country that already said that they were going to give you the funding, if you already have it, as in it's already put aside, it was a loan that was already granted or something like that. But I say might as well you continue the project. I don't think you should stop it. You know, I don't think you should stop the project if the funding is already there. I don't think you should. But what I would say, if you are actively in this time, if you are actively in this time seeking funds, that's, I would call it, George, for that. If you are actively seeking funds because you don't have enough to continue the project, then I think, you know, then I think you should put a hole on it. I think you put a hole on it, right? But if the funds are already there, you have to be very cautious as how to you go forward. You have to watch what is happening. And if you think you can end in a term without, putting burden on the citizens, okay, fine. But if you think you will put burden on the citizens, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. All right. Let me go back into the section. I think I'm seeing some things here that I want to talk about. Someone says, "Do okay a delayed reaction? Yeah, Trump is setting the world on fire to create and maintain dependence on the U.S. dollar and petrochemicals. Should one buy land at this time?" Well, that's a kind of a question. I'm not a. The problem is, right. I'm not a soothsayer, and I am not a prophet to tell you what is going to happen tomorrow. That's not my. I'm not a prophet in that regard. I don't think that you should put off your entire life because there's a war happening over there. What you will have to do is to weigh the risk and the benefits. And if for you personally the benefits outweigh the risk of buying a piece of land now, so be it. If you think there's greater risk and no benefit at this time, then don't. You have to make up your mind on that. I will not get into any kind of personal thing about that in terms of if you should buy land or not buy land now. Um, it's just something that is just you will have to make up your mind on that. But it's always wise to seek the counsel of the Most High in everything you do. Um, Sabrina also said whole funds. Yeah, like what I said. If you're actively seeking money to build the airport at this time, you actually should hold off on that. I think you should. If you're actively seeking, if you have it already, that's fine. But if you're seeking it now, you should hold on that a while. China playing chess with the West while the West is playing checkers. I'm thinking if it makes sense to open a new airport in Tobago. Well, if it's already built, might as well. It makes sense you have it there like a white elephant. You have to recuperate funds. People will still travel. People will still travel. You may not get the amount of traveling you want, but people will still travel. If the entire globe shut down, if you don't have enough oil to go about, then you know. But you should open it. You have to make back your money. My brother, I'm glad you're back on this. Is a guy named listening to you in America, and you're telling. Oh, but well, yes. Well, we have another channel which I want you to subscribe to. It's in my name as well. It's just simply Ernesto Cook. It's in my name as well. Just go look for that, Ernesto Cook, and you will see it. And it has about 3,000 plus subscribers. I think we already got up to we're getting close to four. Subscribe to that just in case YT decide that they're gonna remove us again for speaking our minds. Okay. Someone told me I mortally condemn Iran. Oh my God. She should watch her mouth. Barbados cannot afford enemies. Oh Lord, have mercy. It's a very strange thing with these people in this region here. I keep saying it that they sat down and watched Cuba descend into anarchy. When I say anarchy, I'm talking about a humanitarian crisis. They sat down and watched Cuba in a humanitarian crisis, and they said nothing. They're not even sending a blade of grass for Cuba, not even a cup of rice they're sending for Cuba. But here you are talking about Iran. Please, Mia, give it a break. I'll have to go look for that. Give it a break, Mia. All right, let's go here. People been asking me about this, and I'm going to get into it right now. Um, right. You see this? This is important for you to know. This is what is happening. I think this one is from Tropical Shipping. If not Tropical, I think it's the other one. Yeah, this may not be Tropical Zone. Let me see. No, that's not Tropical. That's the other. That's the other freight forwarder. Um, I think that's King Ocean, maybe. Right, could be King Ocean. Yeah. Look at what's happening here. Look at what's happening here. These are going to be freight costs starting in April, which is next month. Look at these costs here. 40-foot, 20-foot container is going to move from 200 US shipping to the Caribbean to 450 US dollars. A 40-foot container is going to move from 400 US dollars to 900 US dollars. A 45-foot container, that's going to be moving from 462 to 1042. And these are things that you really need to pay attention to because it's going to come down. These things are going to be transferred to you. Yeah, they're going to be transferred to you. Nobody's going to be taking off anything. These 45-foot high container, these are what you call large volume shipping container, designed for transporting things and storing lightweight, bulky cargo. There's an extra 5 feet in the length compared to the standard 40-foot container. All right. This is going to jump from 462 US dollars to some 1042 US dollars. And this is shipment to the region, the Caribbean region. So this is something that you have to pay a lot of attention to. Then you have the 20 foot. It's going to move from 320 to 720. And all of these charges. And then you have the 40-foot ARI container. You have the refrigerated containers. You have these things here. Look at them. These are going to move up to 1,440 US dollars. Do you understand what's happening here? I don't know if people are understanding what is happening here. These containers, these are large containers, refrigerated containers, shipping containers. A lot of the supermarkets in the region bringing food to these containers, refrigerated goods. Now they're gonna jump from 640 for shipping to 1,440 US dollars. It's crazy what's gonna be happening. Caribbean says Trinidad and Tobago has about 5 months cover, import cover. And then I was thinking, how is this Iran war, Israel, US affecting African nations who produces oil and has different transport route? Not gonna be much of an issue over there in Africa for now. Epstein's file situation is not stopping despite Trump's war distraction. It's not all about, it's not just oil, it's medication and fertilizer. Well, oil makes everything on the planet, petroleum, basically almost every single thing. And medication and petroleum is and fertilizer is going to become a problem. And that's another story by itself that we kind of have to talk about for a long while. Those who thought they were safe in the Arab states are now reeling and trying to fly out. Trinidad, people, okay, Venezuela and Cuba are allies of Iran. I think the name is pronounced Jesus and not like in English. Yeah, yeah, this is the English translation. Jesus is the Spanish pronunciation. All right, Iran engineers work on Venezuela oil. Russia has sent 2 ships of oil and gas. Yeah, I read that this morning as well. Um, Let me see what we have here. We have to be very careful how we talk about Venezuela and Iran. Yeah, that's very correct. Someone that believe the ground may walks on very disappointed and okay. Listen, me. Trump, no, Trump can't seize any Russian ship. Forget about that. I want to move to this container thing here because Sammy, good morning to you. This container issue that we're having here in terms of the charges to bring in containers, it is something that is serious and something that we have to pay grave attention to. You're talking about a 40-foot refrigerated container. Remember, these containers bringing a lot of food stuff into the region. That's why I keep saying, man, I don't know why we importing all this stuff. 60 to 90% of our food in the region is imported. If that's not worrying, I don't know what is. 60 to 90%. And when you look at the cost here on the when you look at the cost that is going to jump up with these shipping containers, it's really, really out of whack. I mean, you're talking about moving from $640 to $1,440. That is crazy. That's a serious movement. And you look at the 45 foot, it's moving from 462, it's jumping to over $1,000. You look at the 40-foot CT, that's jumping from 4 to 9. Yeah, the 20 CT, that's jumping from that's jumping from 200 to $450 US. Guys, all of these charges are going to be passed on to you, the consumer. I hope you understand what I'm saying. all, all of this is going to be passed on to you, the consumer. Okay, this is something that you have to pay attention to. It's going to be passed on to you as the consumer, the end product. That's what happens. And so all of this what we're doing here in terms of allowing our governments to continue down this rabbit hole, it's really, really, really a problem. It's really, really, really a serious problem. So that is where we are with this situation. I'm going to show you the other one now. I'm going to show you the other one. Let me just get back to this one. This is very interesting. Let me show you something here. This is the one from Tropical Shipping. So there are different prices according to the carrier you're using. So if you're using King Ocean, it's some serious money you're going to pay. If you're using Tropical, this is what you're seeing here. Bunker effective and the current bunker. So they're moving from 160 to 560 for the 20 foot, refrigerated, of course. You're seeing the 20 foot dry container. They're moving from 100 to 350. And then you see the 40 foot here. You see that, right? You see the 40 foot, right? They're moving from 320 to 1,100. And look at that price, man. Look at that price. That price is astonishing. Oh my God, man. This is crazy. This is the 40 foot refrigerated container. See where it's moving from? 320 at the current bunker to $1,120 effective April. Greater than 40, they said that they're moving 225 to $788. And well, these are vehicles not exceeding 700. This is just different vehicles. If you're importing vehicles, I want to show you something here. If you are bringing in barrel with tropical shipping, the current bunker is $1.88 US. Look at where it gone to in April, 656 and $6.56 in April. You see how a consumer could get affected very quickly. All right, good. In Trinidad, it will be more grave with containers as the government increased customs, taxes, and storage fees. So that would increase transportation fees. That would mean hell. I'm feeling this is intentional. So the people from Trinidad don't worry about cost. Food we just pay as long as we get it. Says this is screaming agriculture, agriculture, agriculture. This should not have happened with Caribbean import bills. Our Caribbean leaders need to get a spine and take. Yeah, these are sick people. You can't really bother them. Many pages from Captain Troy book. That's correct. It's already happening in Trinidad, and all the UNC regime is doing is nothing. Somebody says, me is criticizing Iran. What about the US who is raging on war against Iran? These people, somebody says that these people and their country who have no threat to the US, or people are really backward. She needs to shut up. Mr. Rima says, poor people get help from the rich or the government people not okay. Right now, Trinidad have mangoes, guava, pigeon peas, and avocados in season. Please use the natural item stock, non-perishable, save on cooking. And we thought the tariffs were bad. This is next level. Next level. And then I think we are saying I have to worry. Well, there's no need to worry if you. There's really no need to worry if you are always making some sort of preparation. If you're in that mood, you don't really have to worry much. People who don't make any sort of preparation is who really have to be scrambling here, there, and everywhere when the time comes. So it's something that you have to, that is what you have to pay attention to. But I'm showing the cost that is going to really affect a lot of people in the coming months once this issue continue. All right. Happiness says we have to look at our herbs because it is for the healing of the nation and leave those pharmaceutical companies alone. They don't care about the health and wellness, only dollars and cents, and that's absolutely correct as well. I have always been talking about the need to go back to the land. You understand what I'm saying? Katie, good morning to you from Jamaica. Present, please. It's good to have you in the classroom as well. Listen, guys, you have to pay attention to these prices. These are container prices to rise in the coming days. You have to pay attention to the refrigerated equipment that is bringing in cold storage, like the dirty chicken that a lot of people like to eat in the Caribbean. That's what you have to pay attention to. So that means all those things will rise astronomically in cost. You think a supermarket is going to pay 1,120 for a bunker to get a container. Yeah, and remember you have to pay. That's just the shipping cost. Remember you have to pay customs duties and all these things. You think they're going to pay them kind of monies and end up selling you cheap stuff? No, 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 no. They're not. They're going to pass on all these things to you. All these costs are going to be passed on to you very, very soon. And that is why I often say that it's always necessary to prepare, to get your food stuff, to prepare, go back to the land. I saw something yesterday where CARICOM was saying that they basically was looking now at agriculture to fast track it. Listen, when I saw that, you could have knocked me down with a feather. Absolutely knocked me down with a feather. You hear me? You could have knocked me down with a feather when I saw that yesterday. You could imagine CARICOM now talking about moving to agriculture in this time. This is the time they think that you should move to agriculture. Not 5 years ago, 10 years ago when we all it's like I don't understand. I don't understand these people. Ah, Jesus, Lord have mercy. Boy, I don't understand this at all. I don't know, boy. They now talking about going to agriculture. Yesterday I saw the paper come out. I have to go back and look for it. I have to go back and look for it. Because it's astonishing. When I saw it, it could have knocked me down with a feather. I don't understand these people. It's crazy. They're now talking about that. Anyway, anyway. But I have to do that. I have to do a video on that because it's just sick. Ay, ay. Anyway. So guys, I was referring to that whole issue of agriculture and the whole issue of planting in a timely fashion and not waiting for some sort of issue to happen worldwide before we decide to move in that direction. And to my surprise, when I saw that yesterday from CARICOM, boy, I tell you. Anyway, I want to update you on something quickly. I want to update you on something very, very fast. I want to update you on something quickly. I want to update you on this here quickly. I don't know. I tell people all the time that when things are happening in the world, there's always something that's bubbling in the pot. It's not what is happening by itself. Something is always bubbling in the pot. Um, I don't know how many of you may have been taking notice that there is this issue of meningitis. There seems to be an outbreak of meningitis. They're saying that's what they're saying in the UK. But let me see if I could take the caller first and then get back to that. Good morning. Hello, SDH. Your microphone is muted. You have to unmute your microphone. Okay, your microphone is muted. You have to unmute your microphone. You apparently muted yourself, so you'll have to unmute and then you can get back to us. All right, you have to unmute your microphone. Yes, Ginger Carter is in the house as well. Listen, listen. Yeah, yeah, I have all of them down. I have all of them, Candice. I have all of them down. The agriculture for sure is my main sticking point, and I'll deal with that today as well. I'll deal with that today in a separate video. I have to get some time to deal with that. Um, yes, this issue of this meningitis. in the UK, apparently there's some kind of outbreak of meningitis, I understand, in the UK. I don't know how many of you have been paying attention to it. Because I often say when there is something happening, when there is something happening in the world around us, it's not that alone. Sometimes things are used for distraction, and I'm trying to get this back for you. Hold on. Okay, all right, good. I was trying to get something updated on it to see what is happening in the UK. All right, so they're saying now that 27 students are sick and two are dead from meningitis amid UK outbreak. That's what they're saying. They're saying meningitis outbreak in southeast England has left 27 students sick and two dead, according to the health officials. So that is something that is happening right now in the UK, and you ought to pay attention to it because every time we have something happening in some part of the world, there's always something else going on. I don't know if there's a trick in the game, but we have to pay attention to that. That meningitis issue taking place there. I said in a video, President Jaffa said the UK people don't like washing their hands. I said in a video this week that there's this meeting going on in the region. I think it ends on Friday. This scenario that they are playing out, this thing that they're doing with WHO, European disease agencies, they're actually planning, they're doing this training scenario of an intensive outbreak in this region of ours. And that is something I spoke about earlier this week. So that's why I want you to pay attention. Pay attention to it. Pay attention to what is happening over there in the UK. So, guys, like I said, we are back on this channel on our larger one that we had before. We have the backup, so make sure that you subscribe to the backup channel just in case these little demons decide that they are going to throw us off again. Please subscribe to that channel. It's my name, Save Ernesto Cook. Just look for it and you will see it. Pay attention to what is happening with the rise in freight costs. That is interesting to pay attention to, the rise in freight cost. We're seeing that some freight for some containers will be moving over $1,000, some over $900, and that price and that cost is going to be passed on to you as the consumer. So ensure that you pay attention to that. That is something that is coming your way. You can't escape it. Then different companies have different prices. So if you're a Tropical, you'll have to ask Tropical about it. If you use King Ocean, you will have to deal with that as well. So all of that is necessary um, to take notice of. I see that the Barbados government is saying that they are moving to cap the freight paying on the consumers. They said that I think I saw it here this morning. They warned that emergency bunker surcharges by major shipping lines triggered by the conflict in the Middle East were already gathered to assist in continuing further price escalation. He said that the government will do its best to shield the country from the impact of these shocks. He says Bajans should also have an appreciation for the full price, for the full picture, actually. So you guys gonna have to start, thinking about that. He also said that to blunt the immediate blow from freight hikes that will ripple through supermarket shelves, he announced that from next month, which is this from next month to March 31st, 2027, Customs and Excise Department will cap the value of the containers used to calculate customs duties. At 3,000 for a 20-foot container and 6,000 for a 40-foot container for CIF shipments. So they are trying to ease the pain, as the people say, on the residents of Barbados. I hope this works out for them and that they will be able to get some relief on what is happening in that sphere. So, guys, thanks a lot for joining me today. Really appreciate those of you who came into the classroom. Candice, Maria, Antoine, I see that you came in late. It's always a pleasure to be in the class. Candice, yep, President Jafar, Pat, Clem Berrick was in here, Miss Arima, Ginger Cartel, Stefan was here as well, Katie, Simon was here, Douglas Allen, Namick was here. Let me see who else was in the classroom. A lot of people was here today. Happiness was here. Sivlap was here. Virgil was in the class. Um, Old Lady was in the class. Let me see who else was in the class here today with us. Um, Jesus was in the class, as he said before, to be called. Sammy from Lucia was in the class, was with us today as well. So Anan was here as well. I think Boville was in the class with us. Sabrina was in the class with us. Douglas Allen was in the class with us. I think I saw our good friend Cuthbert was in the class with us. Empress was in the class with us today. I think also Caribview was inside the classroom with us today. Cyrus was inside the classroom with us today. Who else was in the class with us today? I think I saw I saw somebody very earlier. Sophie was in the class. Slimmer, Sharon, Sadiq was in the class as well. I saw a couple other people earlier. Anna Ramsey was in the class. Jenny was in the class. Michael Woodley was in the class today. Kenny was in the class today. I want to thank you guys for coming into the classroom today and for being with us. We will definitely have another class tomorrow. Thanks for watching, guys. Subscribe to the other channel as well, just in case they try to kick us off of this one again. We'll have other videos out today once I have the time, and share this live with your friends as well and get them to subscribe to the channel.